live. All right, dude. Officially welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Sure. I'm going to give a quick intro. This is Tom Ritsch, homie from Austria, small village, and local to Kitzsteinhorn, if I'm not wrong.
That's right.
But yeah, do you want to give a better intro? Because that's about all I can give. You probably know yourself a bit better.
Yeah, so I'm Tom. I'm from Austria. I was born and raised here. And yeah, my home mountain is Kitzsteinhorn. I ski here most of the time when I'm home. And other than that, I'm traveling to film for ski movies. And most of my work I've done with Flags of Steel. And then lately I've done 2 of the TGR movies. And yeah, that's about it. Trying to make it happen.
Sick. Dude, I'm excited to get behind the scenes on all the ski flick stuff too, because I'm always wondering like what goes behind the shots, like what's changed over the years. So that'll be fun to get into. But I guess first things first, man, like how's summer? What'd you get on the off season?
Yeah, summer was great. First, I was traveling to Asia to look at some countries, did Malaysia and Thailand. And then we went to Indonesia to see Ahmed Dadali because he moved there.
He's living in Indonesia? No way. Where is he living?
Yeah.
Like in Bali or?
No, he's living further north on, North Sumatra is like the big...
Yeah.
In the northwest, and then just off the coast there's another small island called Simulu, and that's where he lives and where he works. And yeah,
dude, it's so hard to live in Indonesia. Like I was in Bali for a while, and just the whole visa situation is so fucked there if you want to stay there long term. Like what is he just surfing there, or like what's his thing?
No, he's got it figured out, I think, and he's got some sort of working visa now, so he can legally work there. And right now he's working at some a surf camp, Dylan's Retreat, and that's also where we met up with him. And it was a sweet trip. Lupe was there as well, and the kid, so we got to hang out.
Oh, no way. Dude, last time I saw Lupe was surfing, but in Oregon. I guess he's just chasing waves.
Yeah, he's super pumped to go surfing. He's hyped on it.
Sick. Nice. What was your favorite country of them all?
Probably Indonesia. I mean, I've been there before, but I think it's just the best. And also the crew was all the time, obviously, so... it was great to see the homies again. Spend some time. Yeah. And then I got back from Indonesia, and then I had to get surgery on my ankle because I had some troubles with it for some years, even, I would say. And they found out that there was some pieces of bone swimming in there that needed to get sucked out. So I got that done, and then I had to rehab a little bit, spend some time on crutches, but it wasn't too bad. Recovered from that, and then I was just training a bunch. Then I went to the USA, to Jackson, for the world premiere of the new TGR movie, which was a great time.
When was that?
That was in September.
No. Oh, wait, must ask question for your ankle. Did they put any metal in it?
No, it was just, they went in there with a sort of camera to locate the piece, and then went in through another hole with a sort of tube or whatever, and then they sucked it out and it's gone, and feels way better. And yeah, I'm super stoked to have no pain while skiing. So stressing me out a little bit at some point. Obviously.
I was going to say you're that much closer to being a true Legs of Steelman.
I know. But no metal in my legs yet. Only in the collarbone. But
oh, yeah, collarbone crew here for sure.
Yeah.
Do you have the plate in still?
they didn't do it with a plate. For me, they solved it with some sort of wire that they
Oh, did you
put
get the hook?
inside. No, it's just some wire that's inside of the bones or of the bone. You know, if this is my collarbone, then they
Yeah.
put it like that, put a wire through so it could grow like this. And apparently, that's the best way because then you don't have any holes from the screws. But
Yeah.
I don't really know. I just listen to the doc and went with it. You know?
That's pretty sick. Did they do that over at what's it called? The spot here where everyone gets their stuff done?
In this room, yeah.
Yeah.
They're
Oh,
cool.
did your shoulder? Nice.
Yeah, they're really good. So
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, they're good with knees. I've heard too. I busted my shoulder up in A Basin in Colorado, like in the off season. So I got this guy. I think his name's Dr. Schwartz, or I forget his name, but he does the U.S. free ski team. So I was like, yes, got the U.S. free ski team guy to do my shoulder. Sick.
it's gotta be good.
Yeah, I hope like people who have been injured before, like will know, and I hope the other people don't have to find out, but like the shopping for doctors experience is very real of like
Yeah.
how good of a surgeon can I get, like how are they doing it, like what's up, how do I get them on the books, how much is it going to cost me, like it's like the most important shopping trip I've been on.
Yeah. But then you usually have so many friends that have had surgeries before, so it's always
Yeah, it's like tattoos. It's like, oh, who's your guy? It looks really nice. Like, the lines are really well defined.
Damn.
But yeah,
yeah,
premiere.
yeah, Jackson was super sick, and the way I usually do it is I fly into Colorado, go to Aspen, and then we drive up to Jackson. And
Wow, it's a long
Colton
drive.
Hinchcliffe, yeah, Colton Hinchcliffe, who is also on the TGR movies, and he's my Völkl teammate. He usually takes me with his Bronco. He got the hookup, so we can drive his car like crazy, and
Oh, yeah.
he's also got the gas hookup as well, so we can drive it up some crazy mountains, burn some gas.
Sick.
It was sick. Yeah, and then we're always camping, and it's making me climb a lot because he loves climbing. And yeah, then we did the premiere in Jackson, and then we drove all the way to Idaho. I met with Gabe, my Dakine team, and then we did some other premieres. We drove to Utah. We drove to Utah, and then back to Colorado, and then I flew back out. Just crazy couple of weeks of camping and road tripping and climbing and showing the movie.
That's sick. What was your favorite town of all the places you did the premiere?
Best one is probably Jackson because it's the home of TGR, so there's so many people there who are involved, and just the general stoke of all the people that live there, it seems like, is amazing, and it's always a great time. And yeah, I love going there.
Nice. Like, how's the town? Because I've heard good things, but also it's like very bougie. Like, especially compared to maybe an Innsbruck or a European snow town. Like, what are the things that stick out to you the most?
The town, yeah, it might be a bit bougie if you want to call it that. Yeah, pretty expensive, I would say, but that's most ski towns in America.
Yeah.
But other than that, they have great lift access. I've never been there in the winter, but it looks super sick, and the biking there is great, and just the views in general. I'm so used to the European, how would you call that, scene, you know, like how everything looks.
Yeah,
I love how in
everywhere.
America,
Yeah.
yeah, in America there's so many open spaces, you know, where you can see nothing for I don't know how long. And yeah, it's fascinating. Super nice. It's a change, you know.
Yeah. Dude, have you been to Mount Hood in Oregon?
Yeah,
That's,
one of the
yeah.
best places. Yeah, I was skiing there for the West Coast session 10 years ago, maybe,
Oh,
or even
yeah.
longer ago. I did
Rest
2
in
West Coast sessions, 8 and 10. And yeah, Mount Hood, wow, one of the sickest places I've ever been. We were camping, super sick. And the park, obviously, and the whole vibe is just different, super sick.
Yeah, did you camp on the airstrip?
Yeah, pretty close to the airstrip.
Nice.
That's what we did.
Yeah, I was gonna say of all the places I can think of that have like this wide open view skiing, like Mount Hood is number one, right? Because it's just you're on this volcano and then there's maybe another volcano way in the distance, but it's mostly just forest. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, that was sick, man. And we also did Crater Lake on that trip, I can remember.
Crater Lake?
Crater Lake, yeah. We
Yeah.
skied close to the crater, sort of, and we also snow camped
There.
which was such a sick trip. Wow, I haven't thought about that one for a while. With the Italian homies. That was sick.
Nice. And yeah, I guess I want to tie it back to TGR, but I'm curious, like, how was West Coast Sessions? Because I've only seen the videos. Like, I was super sad when it ended.
Yeah, me too.
Like, the last ones look so sick. Like, what was the energy up there?
It was super sick. It was just a huge gathering of all the riders in the scene, it felt like. And yeah, I was just super stoked to go there because it was also my first time skiing in the US.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, wow, the park is so sick and Windales is a dream, you know, it's such a crazy place. And yeah, man, I hope that at some point they will do it again. It was a great time. I'd love to go to Mount Hood again.
Yeah, dude, I was at Hood this summer and it was really fun. Like, it's still a really cool spot. Man, the day pass was, I think, $125, which was nuts. So hopefully you can get there as like a rider and get a good deal. Just like get a few shots, get a free pass, or you know.
I don't know. I remember the day there was or do they still do the spring pass?
What's the snow pass?
No, the spring pass.
Oh yeah, spring pass is always a good. Yeah, dude, it's I don't know. It was $99 at some point, I remember, and that's just definitely not the case but just for May. But yeah, I don't think that's happening anymore. Yeah, no, great time. Glad West Coast Sessions. You got to like at least witness it for what it was worth. Were you there the year was it Kobe like ripped a triple on the big jump out of?
Yeah, that was West Coast Session 10. Was that the last one that I did? I think
so, right? 10 was the last one, right? Because they only did 10.
Dude, and the skiing he did was insane, dude. And it's crazy how long ago that already is and how insanely good he was. Because I remember the triple that he ripped on that jump. And I also remember there was this crazy down flat down to S rail, and Kobe would do 2 on front swap and then grease the S rail back 4. That
nuts, dude.
Wow, he crushed it. And it's crazy because his accident was right after West Coast Session.
Oh, it was when he was leaving?
Yeah, he was leaving, and that's when it happened.
Oh, bummer.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, I don't know, but I'm not sure.
But yeah, that was like
so for him that he came back from such a crazy accident, and I'm glad he's doing all right. And super sick to see what he's doing right now. Such a sick skier.
For sure. He came back in a big way too. 'Cause I feel like at that West Coast Session, he was like this big rookie, like, yo, this kid just killed it, you know? And then from then on, just,
Have you seen his new flick that he brought out this fall?
No. Is it a free ride or backcountry movie?
Yeah, backcountry movie. It's not online yet, but I've seen it in Annecy at the High Five Festival, and it was pretty mind-blowing skiing once again. So,
dude, I'm so stoked to see it. It's really cool to see where like the film projects have gone from being kind of concentrated, I felt like, all under one roof with like obviously like TGR and Poor Boys and Level 1 and like Legs of Steel and Match Yeah, Matchstick. You know, the big ones that at least I remember from like 10 years ago or so. Whereas now it's all these independent projects floating around everywhere. And you can see them on YouTube, which is, people forget, like, you used to have to buy DVDs or like,
Yeah.
and if you're in Europe, it was really hard to get or like expensive. Like, you ended up missing
Yeah.
out on a lot of content, I felt.
So it was so special for us when we could get our hands on some DVDs, That was insane, man.
Yeah, dude. I still remember my first movie that I downloaded on the internet. It was a 4:9 flick. And I was like, wait, I can finally watch a 4:9 movie? I've always heard so much about The Crew, and it was like $5 or something to download it. Man, I watched it like 80 times just because I was so stoked. Like, it was such a rare. I forget which one, but John Ware, I believe, had the closing segment. 25-minute movie. I'm blanking on the title. It'll come to me.
Mhm.
I feel like I could search it as well, but I mean, it has to have been 2008 or 9.
Was that Slamming, maybe?
Could have been Simona. Could have been. It was one of the last ones. Yeah. Couldn't
Yeah.
couldn't remember. I hope kids listening to this know what 4:9 is too.
Yeah.
Was it 40s, blunts, ice, and then knives? Sick.
Yeah, man. Dude, shout out for Banane. I
Yeah.
love watching them.
Dude, people need to dress more gangster as well and
Right.
get shit in the streets. Bring
Yeah,
that back.
true.
So, dude, TGR, like, tell me more about the movie. Like, what was the vision for it this year? Like, what were you trying to get done?
This year's movie is called Beyond the Fantasy, and it plays with the idea of your imagination becoming reality, and yeah, that's sort of the theme, I would say. I even have the poster right here. And this year we were filming, or at least for our sake, we were filming in Austria. It was sick to have these guys come over here. And conditions were a bit tricky in Europe this year, but we still made it happen, I would say. And just pretty sick. So
Nice, dude. I'm looking it up right now. Beyond the Fantasy.
yeah.
Does that have to do with the Tom Wallish, like J.P. O'Clair kind of movie or edit that came out?
I don't know if it has to do something with it, but yeah.
I wonder if that was a teaser for it. But it's sick. I haven't seen the film yet. Like, who's all in it? What was the plot for it? And also, where did you film?
So it's a pretty big list of writers, but it's just the usual TGR writers, Ian McIntosh, Sage, Caterpillar Gallows, Coulter Hinchliff, Parkin Costain, Kai Jones, of course, and Sammy Carlson has a sick Endersäge.
Oh, nice.
Just stopped on. And yeah, most of it was filmed in North America, I think. Pretty much all of it, except for our Austria segment, of course, where we were skiing in Austria with Coulter Hinchliff and Nick McNutt. Stoked to ski with these guys. And McNutt was also the guy who I was skiing with on my first ever TGR trip that was last year, so 2023. And yeah, just a great guy to be skiing with and stacking shots with. So yeah,
Nice.
super pumped.
Where did you get out to in Austria? Like, what resorts or what areas?
We went to St. Anton, Arlberg area, and we got pretty good conditions. Some really good days, some really bad days. But we were able to stack some shots, I would say, especially Coulter. He crushed it on that trip. I think he's got the sickest shots. And then we went to Pitchtenhorn, my home mountain. And we were not as lucky with the conditions. It was maybe the worst week of the year.
Oh no! What was it?
What?
Do you know? Do you remember what week or what month it was?
That was in February as well, or because we did late January and beginning of February, and the might already have been in February. But usually it's pretty good also in February. But yeah, it was tricky. But we were also working on a Krampus kit for the movie. So that's what we did here when there was no skiing possible. And yeah, this kit is also in the movie, and yeah, we made great efforts to make it happen. It was sort of Brad Holmes' idea. He was there to shoot.
Dude, that's what I'm talking about. Get skiers acting again.
Yeah, exactly.
Get James West up in there.
Yeah, exactly, dude. Yeah, skits should come back. It's
dude, 100%. I don't know what happened to them. Like now it's just like banger shot, banger shot, banger shot. I'm like
bangers and scenics.
Yeah, it's cool too. But
yeah, I guess. Yeah. But yeah, I love a good skit. Some comedy. It's nice.
Sick. So how does it all work with the film? Do you film your part in Austria and then other people film their parts kind of elsewhere and you mash it all up? Or do you do like crew trips as well, kind of?
Pretty much, no. So our crew was filming the Austria Segi, and then in the meantime, some other crew was out in BC or in Jackson. And yeah, that's usually how it goes, I think.
Nice. And who runs TGR? Like, I've always wondered how the structure works kind of behind the scenes, because I think one works, but...
So Todd Jones and Steve Jones, the brothers, who are also the founders, are still running it, I would say. Big time.
Gotcha. And then, so they run it, and I guess they just hit up different crews and kind of tap them in to get clips, or?
Yeah, I think so. Or they have a bunch of people working there. So these people would then organize all the trips and connect all the riders. And yeah, it's usually how it works. And at first they talk to the brands, of course, to get the riders,
yeah,
that they want to film with. And
yeah, it's kind of that format where it's like people run film, work with brands, get riders in, and then kind of it all meshes together.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice. And then everyone gets together and parties for the premieres.
Pretty much, yeah.
Nice. So how did you get involved? Like, how did you get tapped into the project?
I feel like I got super lucky because Kolta was always filming with TGR, and I feel like he was vouching a lot for me because he's the man and he wanted to get a Segi together. And then the plan was last year to go on a cat skiing trip to Völkl. That didn't happen after all because it was too short of a window or something. And I was already in Canada by then because I was skiing with ABM. I was staying in Whistler, staying with ABM at his crib. Shout out for that. That was some good weeks too. So we were skiing Whistler and the area around. And then the Völkl trip didn't happen with TGR, but then they randomly hit me up like 2 days before a planned trip, and they asked me if I want to go on a heli trip with them. So I was in, of course. I was super lucky just to be in the area because they needed a Völkl guy. I was just happening to be there, and yeah, got lucky enough to get the call. And then we were skiing Mike Wiggly's for a week, which was super sick, dude.
That's so sick.
Experiences ever. And yeah, I was lucky enough to score some pretty good shots there, and also that year, I went to Jackson for the world premiere and a bunch of other premieres, where I got to meet all these people, and yeah, it was super sick experience, and yeah, it's always great to go to Jackson, and I'm just so glad that they gave me this opportunity, and yeah, hope to be filming with them in the future. We'll see.
Yeah, man, that's like a dream. Just imagine pulling up somewhere, you just get a call like, "Hey, do you want to heli ski for a week?" Like,
Yeah, I was like, what?
we're filming
You're asking me?
too. Like,
Yeah, I was like, what are you asking me to go on a heli trip? Oh, dude, of course I'm down. I couldn't believe it. And we got so lucky too. We had 4 sunny days in a row, which is
okay,
pretty unheard of in Canada, I've heard, at least in the Alpine. And then the 5th day was still kind of good. We were flying and getting some shots, but yeah. Wow, dude. Couldn't be more thankful for this crazy experience that heli trip was. Damn, changed my view on film skiing totally.
that's sick. I've never been heli skiing. I feel I would need more snow experience to like know how to call it. Like I feel there's like a whole process that goes into it. I saw that movie at the premiere here in Innsbruck, like Marx's new movie.
Yeah, Circle of Madness. Wow.
Yeah, and that goes really behind the scenes on just like camping out in Alaska and kind of making dreams happen. But was that your first heli ski trip with TGR that time? Probably not.
It was the first proper heli ski trip. Yeah, I was heli skiing before, but that was only in Austria Valley years ago. But it was only one drop, and the conditions were super gnarly, and the heli was shaking like that. And I'm like, whoa! I didn't know this is what it's like, but apparently it was just a sketchy day for it.
Yeah.
But we still did it, and it was crazy experience, but nothing like what we did at Wiggly's.
How was your first experience heli skiing then? Like, what were kind of the aspects of it that took you by surprise or that you maybe weren't expecting coming into it, especially with people who were probably like a little more experienced with it, I assume, as well, and you're just kind of there like, trying to keep up?
What I wasn't expecting was that you can have kind of a chill morning, you know? Like, you don't have to get up super early. You can get up at like 7:30 or 8 and have some breakfast and then get to the heli at 8:45 or 9. Whereas when we were sled skiing before that trip, when I was with ABM, we would always get up at like 4 a.m. or something crazy like that, and then drive to the cat track, get the sleds going, and then ride the sleds all the way into the backcountry. And it's just such long days. And with the heli, you get to chill a little bit. And what's also crazy is though, once you're in the heli, it gets going pretty quick, you know, like you're chilling and looking at some stuff, and the next thing you know, you're standing up top and ready to go. You know? Crazy. What's also crazy is from the heli, everything looks a bit smaller, I would say. And then on some stuff, you'd be like, yeah, I could probably hit that and maybe do 3 of that and stuff like that. And then it turns out to be way bigger than expected most of the time. So that's something to pay attention to. And what I was also amazed by is how effective you can be, you know, like you can stack so many shots in the shortest time, and you can just go so far. Because I don't know, back home, for example, if you want to ski a sick line or whatever, you have to walk so far.
Yeah.
Or sometimes you ski tour to some sick jump spot or whatever. It's just so much work. And with the heli, you're like, yeah, let's just go up there and then look at this space. But also big shout out to Wiggly's, because they were letting us do our thing, you know, because I've heard that some heli operations, the guides would be more strict, which is also understandable, you know, because they can't have people getting trouble or anything like that. But at Wiggly's, they were just like, yeah, you guys are the pros, you do your thing. And they were just, letting us rip. Those were some cool guys, Bob and Jesse. Shout out. And yeah, it was the sickest skiing ever got to do. So I'm definitely hoping to be back in a heli at some point, man, because it's the best, I would say.
Dude, so sick. You got to send me the shots you're talking of too, so I can kind of like relive them with the hype as well. It's like I always huge lines, and I'm like, fuck, I kind of want to be there, but at the same time, I think I'd be so scared to drop.
Yeah, dude, I was scared, man.
Yeah, it looks so cheap. I don't know.
Yeah, especially because it was like my first time filming with them, so you already know that I was like on the way to the heli operation. I was already like, damn, dude, I better be getting some shots, I need to ski well. I don't want to blow this. And I was pretty nervous, but yeah, it worked out. So yeah, I feel just super lucky and yeah, thankful that it happened. Wow, what a trip.
So see the clips. Good segue, I guess, the cutoff. Why don't we like bring you back? Tell me about young Tom as a Grom. Like, when did you start skiing? What got you into all of it? Did you do the typical like ski racer into jumps now?
Yes. Like I started skiing when I was 2, and then I was ski racing till I was maybe 11 or 12. So proper Austrian ski racing background, I would say.
Yep.
But at some point I got tired of the racing and the whole structure that comes with it,
Mm-hmm.
And my older brother Cree would already be super stoked on free skiing, and he was trying to get me on in a way. And he was pretty good already, and I always wanted to do what he was doing, so it was only natural for me to start doing the same thing. And yeah, luckily we always had a sick park at Kitzsteinhorn.
Yeah.
Also, the whole mountain is just so sick because also the free riding is pretty good, so we would always ski the park and do some free ride at the same time. So that's how I also got some of a free ride background. But yeah, I was also doing a bunch of comps when I was younger, and then at some point really focused on the movie side, especially when I started to film with Legs of Steel. So thanks to those guys for always putting me on, and yeah, still to this day skiing with them mostly. So yeah, big shout out Paddy, Toby, Danny, Dorge, everyone else at Legs of Steel. And yeah, that's where we are at right now.
Right on. So, dude, tell me about the comp scene. Were you doing like, was there an Austrian circuit you were on, or like Europa Cups? Like, how did that work out for you? And what year are we in as well when you started?
It was before this time, so there would only be like Austrian free ski open and stuff like that. And just how back in the days there was way more comps than now, or maybe there's a lot of comps now too, but they're all within the federations and stuff, and FIS exactly. You need to be part of this in order to be allowed to compete and stuff. And back then there was just way more independent comps, I would say. So I was doing a bunch of those, and then I even tried some of the FIS comps and the Austrian Federation and all that, but for me it felt like I was going back to that racing time period for me, because the reason I got tired of racing was because the structure was just so strict, and they would always tell you when, how and where to ski and who you're skiing with, and I wasn't feeling that anymore at some point, and that's why I quit and then found this sick new way of skiing, and then when the FIS came into this, it almost felt like a step back for me, back into this pattern And I tried it a little bit, and it wasn't for me. So yeah, decided to quit and focus on the film side. And back then, the federation wasn't so easy to work with. But I'm stoked that apparently things have changed a lot. So now it's going better, and they're giving the young riders the chance, to come up in the comp scene, and just, yeah, it's gotten better. But yeah, it wasn't for me. Focused on on the filming side, and yeah, I'm pretty glad that I did that.
Yeah, sick. I've seen the evolution of comps over the past 15 years, and I mean, I don't want to say I feel bad for anyone doing comps nowadays, but like, you can't win any money, right? Like, don't you just win points? And then I've seen Europa Cup kids here, or the Rev Tour, like over in the US, it's not even World Cup. They are super good, like way better than I ever thought skiing could be, like not even just a few years ago.
Yeah.
And it's just what you have to put yourself through to get to even a place where you're able to get a paycheck nowadays through the comp scene is insane. When you probably remember like the 2005s, 2010s, where it was just like insane, right? Like everyone was getting paid like big time. I think X Games paid out like probably close to 100K today to a winner. Like it was, sponsors were like all over the place. Like it was sick. Yeah.
Super sick. Times have changed, man, and we as a scene, we need to be careful in a way, to be sure that we always have some stuff that is outside of this regulated scene, like, for example, there's the World Cups, and now, for example, we have Chip League. Shout out Woodsy, Oystein, and Völkl. Super sick to see that they are doing their own thing, that they are stepping out of this pattern, starting to do their own thing. And I think it would be good if we as riders start doing our own, or more, doing more of our own events in a way. Also because we were doing Rich's Roll, like some live stream event some other year.
Dude, gotta talk about that. Sick video on YouTube too. Loved it.
Thanks, man. That was also sort of a step in that direction, to be like, oh, we should do our own events that are just,
Yeah, I'd love to talk to whoever pioneered getting skiing into the Olympics and what the thought process there was, because I don't know how many people were asked like their opinion on it, but I don't know. It's like my understanding of it was someone was like, we need skiing in the Olympics. Sure. And then for the Olympics, much like skiing on Instagram, which is a whole other problem, you need to essentially fit a sport into a sort of cookie cutter kind of best practice framework for sports. And that meant you need some sort of standardized point system, right? Which hence FIS and FIS points, and same for judging and all that. And I'm pretty sure that made everyone converge towards like the same tricks, the same stuff, which is what you see in aerial skiing. It's what you see in whatever, figure skating, like lots of other sports, right? And because like fitting into the Olympics meant fitting into a box and a framework of how things are done, that automatically made skiing go into that direction. Now, not everyone had to jump in the bandwagon. People could have just kept hitting street, keep doing independent competitions like X Games and whatever was still around back then. Is Dew Tour independent? I hope so. Or Rockstar Tour, whatever it's called now. I haven't been keeping up, but like, I think just from everything getting into that box, now we've lost a lot of just that flexibility and agility to kind of like move in a different direction than what we wanted. And where I think there was a crossroads of support, everyone went into the Olympics because it's like that's media rights, that's television coverage, that's money. I mean, look at the first Olympics. Didn't they put like Nick Gepper on Pop Tarts and like Target sponsoring skiers and stuff? Um, it was a big kind of like, oh, maybe we can all make a lot of money off of this. And then I guess no one did, or like I don't know what happened there either, but everyone pulled out, right? Like I think even Salomon pulled out of park skiing for a while. And then you're left with a sport that like nationalized itself, had everyone break up into crews, dependent on money from governments now instead of sponsors. And it just turned it into another kind of cookie cutter sport to fit into the Olympics. And now if you ask a kid what their goal is, it's probably to go to the Olympics. And it's not like X Games or like having a sixth street part. I mean, obviously a lot of people out there are still like holding strong and putting out street parts and film segments and aren't like on that road to the Olympics in their head. But it used to be your favorite skiers were riding Duke Tour and X Games, and they were filming street, and they were getting big powder lines, and it was like such a cooler vibe.
Yeah. But also nowadays, like if you wanna be doing good at the comps, it's almost like you have to focus on just doing comps. And if you want to get like a good filming seg, you have to focus on filming almost. Even though there's some people that are still doing everything, but that's some legendary stuff, like if you manage to do that in this day and age, to be scoring good comp results and then at the same time bringing out some of the sickest parts, man, that's huge respect to whoever is able to pull that off, which is crazy. And also the whole comp or the Olympics or the FIS scene and comp scene and filming scene, it's just, in a way, it's dividing us, but at the same time, it just it can also put more focus on the film side in a way, because just to have I'm trying to find the English word or something German that I was thinking, just to have an opposition. Would that work?
Do you want to say it in German? Can I try to translate with my terrible German?
Yeah, no, like a Gegenpol, because there's this big force, and then
like an opposite weight, kind of.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll call it a yin and a yang.
A yin and a yang, yeah, exactly. And I mean, there's pros and cons to everything that it brought, but we definitely got to be careful to never forget our roots,
For sure. And I mean, your yin and yang thing also, I think, ties into another big factor is just the relatability of skiing. I studied sports management once upon a time, and there's a big study into why sports become huge. Like, when did Formula One pick up and become something that people watch? When did American football pick up? When did basketball pick up? And how did that success start? And it's always through some form of media to get mass appeal. And one of the big vectors that you always need with a sport for it to pick up is, one, a rivalry, and two, why am I forgetting the word right now? I had it when I started bringing this up, but a sense of I can do this, that kind of connection to the sports where it's like you see it and you can relate to it, it's like really just relatability to it. So to a degree, you had that in skiing for a while, if I watched someone do a cork 9, I was like, that's sick. It's not impossible. I can maybe rip one on a trampoline and figure it out. Mm-hmm. But then you enter the realm of whatever triple 21s, even people commentating on it who know the sport pretty well, are confused. Remember when I think it was Troy Podlovich, Teapot did a triple 21 at whatever World Cup, the last one where he did it. no one
Yeah.
even knew it was a triple 21. They thought it was an 18. So we got scored really low. And then everyone was like, wait, no, 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 that was fucked. And they gave him like the gold.
Mhm.
But so, like with film skiing, what's really cool is you still get that relatability. Granted, not everyone's skiing big lines in Alaska for sure, but like you can watch that and be like, wow, wouldn't it be sick to like ski
Yeah.
around there? You know, it's more understandable. Like street skiing, it's like, oh, I see a handrail right there, like someone hitting it. Like that's not as crazy to wrap your head around, and you can tell the difference between shots and stuff like that. So it's cool that film skiing will keep that aspect of the sport alive because it'll keep people coming and it'll kind of like make it more approachable in that sense, I would hope.
Yeah. Even though I wonder like how some of these young kids see this whole situation, because for
Yeah.
them, a top 10 or whatever, or trip 14 is just the standard,
That's a warm up.
Whereas for us back then, it's like, all right, cork staff, all right, which is, for us, that was the standard. And then the standard just gets higher and higher.
Yeah.
But these kids, they don't know any other, they're like, all right, top 10 is the standard, I better just go do it, and then maybe for them, it's more, I don't know if it's relatable or maybe more realistic to do some of these tricks. But I hear you, like at some point when these guys are doing like 1980s or 2160s, and you're like, dude, there's no way I'm ever going to be able to do that. But maybe some of these young kids, for them, it might be normal to just be able to spin 16, and then.
Yeah, I guess
they
so.
take you to that next level, but I don't even know, man.
Yeah, they're still coming up out of somewhere, right? So
Yeah, like whenever you think, or whenever you feel like, oh, we've reached the ceiling in a way, they're always coming up with new stuff. It's insane. Everyone's just so good these days. It's crazy to see.
yeah, dude, I mean, no comment. But yeah, so tying it back to your comp scene, so you're doing competition and you're like, that's not for you anymore. I guess you got into filming from there. Like, what was your journey pivoting out of comp skiing and getting to filming? And like, how did you see your career as a skier kind of form through that era? How did you make that transition for yourself?
For me, the transition was pretty easy because I was never really that deep in the, let's say, fish structure or whatever you want to call it. I did some independent comps, but I was also already filming with a crew back in the days, Frisky crew. Shout out to those guys. Shout out Prosa. I was filming with those guys, and yeah, I did some comps at the same time, and then the whole World Cup stuff started to begin in a way, and I tried it for some time, but it wasn't for me. But yeah, I was always really into filming, and yeah, so it's just natural for me to keep on doing that. Whereas nowadays, I feel like it could be hard for some riders, if you're so used to being the comp circuit, everything's really structured and you have a schedule, you're just going to do this, this, and that, and do all the comps, do well, hopefully, and then it's your schedule. Whereas when you're a film skier, you always, there is no schedule really, you have to come up with the schedule and with some ideas that you could maybe do, or think of sub projects or stuff that you want to do, and you're never sure, am I doing the right thing, am I doing enough, is this a good way to go, or there's just so much that plays into it. And at the same time, you have to stay fit, you want to be strong, and also your mind has to be in the right place, also for filming. So yeah.
It's kind of funny now that you mention it. It almost sounds like being a film skier is like being the entrepreneur of ski world, whereas like being a comp skier is kind of like being the corporate employee, where it's like just clock in here, here, and there, and like do good performance, and we'll promote you.
Yeah, maybe, but also like everything is corporate these days, or
Right.
almost everything, I must say. and so you have to deal with that on both
Well,
ends
that's
of
what
this.
I've wondered as well for the transition into freeride, right? So, like, I assume your structure as a comp skier is you do comps and you have your sponsors that are going to support you. And that, correct me if I'm wrong on any of this, probably relies to some degree on your results in competition and appearances and performing and maybe being part of a team nationally. Also, who knows,
Mhm.
right? That everyone has their own kind of contract, and it seems to be mostly based on, fist points and that comp circuit. Now, when you
Yeah,
transition over to film skiing, it's a complete new ball game, right? Like you have to come up with projects, pitch them to sponsors, and the value that you're creating as a rider, I think, shifts pretty fundamentally, right? Because
hmm
we're not talking about, podiums and kind of other aspects that are very structured. Now we're maybe talking about YouTube views, impressions, like elsewhere. So
hmm
from that financial aspect, like, did you have a hard time kind of moving over and figuring out how to restructure your career in that sense, or like what were the challenges?
Yeah, I would say definitely because it's just it's always hard to you know it's so hard to convince these brands, for example, that this is what you're going to do, and to convince them to help you out with a little bit of a budget. And where, like you were saying, if someone's doing all these comps and got the results and stuff, and then it's almost like they would trend towards someone like that, for example. But it's so important, I feel like, to have people that see other values, or that also see the value in this uh, side of the yin and the yang, like we were saying
Yeah.
earlier. And yeah, I don't know, at the end of the day, comes to comes down to all these people that are working in marketing and stuff like that, and at the brands where they want to shift the focus to. And yeah, luckily there's still some brands out there that value both sides, and yeah, that's what we need to just keep on going.
Yeah, I totally agree. I'm wondering, do you have any tips?
These ends, but I just
Do you have any tips out there for people who are trying to like do their own film project and maybe like approach sponsors for budget? Like anything that's worked well or not?
nowadays it seems like you have to be different than everyone else. It almost seems like, because nowadays everyone is just so good, but being good alone is not enough, and so you really have to come up with something special, some special flavor, or you go down the social media road and try to get super big on social media. That will help for sure, because they like these numbers. But yeah, you gotta bring something special to the table, and always have a good plan, a good pitch, on what you're gonna do, and also always have a backup plan, because you never know how things might work out. Especially
Yeah.
in filming, you never know. It might be a bad winter, conditions might suck, and you might have to change your whole concept. And yeah, so be ready for that, and yeah, just keep going, never give up. It's always
Yeah.
hard to say, especially when someone asks me like, how did I make it, how did I make it happen? And sometimes I'm not even sure. But what I always did was I never gave up the dream. I was always imagining myself trying to make it, because I wanted to have a job in skiing. And then at some point, I was even working as a ski instructor just to make it happen in a way, But working as a ski instructor sucked, and I didn't like it at all. But at the same time, I have to give some credit to it, because it really showed me that this is something that I don't want to do, and I better be stepping up my game make it as a free skier and not having to do some instructing. But yeah, instructing can be cool too, though. I don't want to hate on it at all, because it can be super nice if you're, for example, if you are skiing with a bunch of kids through the park. They learn so quick. You can teach them all the tricks, and they're super stoked. That's an amazing part of doing it. But then at the same time, when they have you go skiing with 12 5-year-olds, on a rainy day, and then you have to take care of all these kids, and then it's just so much responsibility that you have to take, upon yourself.
I would have a hard time with that. I would not enjoy, I think, necessarily having my time on the mountain completely devoted to someone else just for money. I do it for a homie. I do it for my girl. If it's like something like I'll super down. Don't get me wrong. But if it's like, hey, like there's a great powder day, but you have to go do turns with like the British family that's here on vacation, that the kids don't even want to ski or whatever it is, you're just kind of like, oh,
yeah,
I can see that. Well, word to the wise for the movies. Maybe I would also say like ask for double whatever the budget is you're gonna need. That's
because they're gonna try to lower it for sure.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, like whatever. Like people expect negotiation. I'm also wondering in terms of like releases nowadays, that's something I've been very curious about. Like, how do you think about your release for a film? Because I feel it's shifted so much like over the past few years.
Yeah, it's different. Like you were saying earlier, nowadays everything is on YouTube sooner or later, which is cool that we all get to see it. But I like it when there's movies that have sort of a premiere tour to it, that's building up all the hype and stuff. And but they do get released online sooner or later, all the movies, which is nice. You get to see everything. But I also like for some project you have to wait for, or you even have to go to some of the premieres. You're like, oh, I really want to see this, and I don't want to wait to December or even January when they upload it. So there's still some stuff like that, which is cool. And everything's just way more digital these days, of course. No more DVDs.
Yeah, I feel like the culture is around it has shifted too. I mean, I really appreciate what you guys did in Innsbruck for the movie premiere for Legs of Steel. And
Thank you.
I was at the front row, right? And you were up with Patty kind of doing the thing. And I was just there trying to be like as obnoxiously lit as possible. Like, let's go. It's like, I remember the like one time I was at a ski premiere and the giveaway was like, first one to chug this beer out of like whatever pro skier's old ass ski boot wins the prize. Or like first one to do a naked backflip, which probably isn't you can't do nowadays for sure. But
we bring back the crazy stuff to the premieres.
Yeah, I think I have 3 that I've seen some fun stuff go down like in the early days.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, shout out IF3 because that was like the sickest, dude. Like all the pros were there just getting hammered at that club on the lake.
Yeah.
Dude,
aren't they still doing IF3 in Montreal or something? Or is that somewhere else? But there's some IF3 in Canada for sure.
Yeah, well, there's always a Montreal one. I think they still do it in Annecy, and it's called High Five now. I could be wrong.
Annecy is High Five, yeah, it's been High Five for years.
Well, they changed it a few years ago.
Yeah, because I've been for the last 6 years or something, and they also used to have a comp there, City Big Air, which was pretty sick. And
sick.
But it got a little bit smaller this year, and it wasn't the same as it usually, because it usually was like a big gathering of all the riders, and everyone was showing their movies, just like a free pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's tough, right? Even if you look at movie theaters nowadays, like with everything released direct to streaming, there's a complete shift in how media is being consumed. And I think where skiing really got hit super hard was with the medium of skiing as well. So, medium being like how it's consumed. Back in the day when we were getting hyped for all these ski premieres, like I was ski starved for months. I had seen all the ski content like publicly available. I had been every New Schoolers video, like I had seen it all, and I was just itching for stuff to drop. And you hear murmurs of like, oh, someone did a trip in the backcountry apparently, like who knows, then Dane Tudor will drop something. It was just like back in the day, like that's what I loved about the energy of it. Everyone's getting fired up to start of the season. And now Instagram is the new Schoolers, right? Like obviously it's still awesome, shout out to them, but the medium for consumption, much like the Olympics, where to fit into a box that was more mainstream and readily available, the comp format had to flex. Well, here the medium format had to flex, where we went from a beautiful artistic rendition of skiing and people putting in a lot of work into like at least like a 3 or 4 minute video. It's like banger first, filmed vertically from a phone, and get it to the gram as fast as possible, right? We've lost like such a large dimension of skiing in that sense, and it's also
it's such a tricky situation for the writers too, because you never know, like, oh, I need to save the bangers for the movie, but at the same time you have to put some posts up. You always need to show clips, especially also for the sponsors and all that.
Yeah, so exactly.
Sometimes hard to find the right balance.
Yeah, so you go from people who are just watching bangers on bangers, so the expectation for clips is through the roof too. As an Instagram as well, I'm like, why do I even post? Like this is that, like I'll put my stuff up and then scroll. I'm like, fuck. Like, so it's with that, plus now it's readily available all year even, like hood clips are always dropping, Stubai clips are dropping everywhere now too. You don't get that starvation that I feel you used to get. And then on top of all of that, I don't even know if people know any ski movie productions anymore. Like we were talking about earlier, right? Like Level 1, Poor Boys, like I don't know, Level 1 granted made a movie this year, which is sick, but a lot of these, like Stepped is gone, like a lot of these bigger crews are not there. So it's individual projects, and that's more scattered. So I'm just curious as to like how you even get an audience for them and like how you build that all up. It's got to be tough,
Yeah, especially if you're like, because there's so many writers doing their own project, and hats off to those guys, because it's so much work, like it's not just the skiing, because you also have to do so much producing work and maybe even directing or whatever, and just there's so much that goes into a ski movie. So anyone who's doing everything himself has my respect, definitely.
Yeah, dude, mad respect to all those folks.
Yeah, but if you do everything yourself, or most of it yourself, it's also nice to have, or it must be nice to have so much, or all the input, like you can choose the music and stuff, or whatever is going to make the flick or what's not going to make it. So that's nice, but it also comes with a lot of work and responsibility, and big ups to those guys.
Yeah, 100%. I'd be so sad if there are no like independent films coming out. Imagine. I'm crazy that people still do street skiing. That's one that always blew my mind. Like it's so dangerous.
So dangerous.
So dangerous, bro. And you're not exactly making money off that, you know, like it's really just for the love. So like
Just
much
a
love
lot,
to
yeah.
everyone doing that. Yeah, it's
It's
insane.
like T Hall still skiing streets, like he does not have to, but he's still doing it, and that's inspiring, like
Dude, hats off to him. I mean, I'm turning 30 this year, and it's so nice to see people like T Hall, like in his 40s,
yeah,
still charging
yeah,
out there. Makes me so happy on so many levels.
yeah, exactly. Because when you're 30, and then sometimes it's like, oh shit, that stuff hurts. I need to be careful. But then you look at Tanner, and you're like, oh, dude, I'm fine. Like can't be that bad. Because seeing all the injuries that he's had in the past and to
Oh,
still
yeah.
be pushing like that, wow, that's unheard of, I
And
would
respect.
say.
You have a good routine for staying in shape? Like, what's your thing? Are you like super into staying in shape, or are you just one of those people who like never works out, rips a few beers, and just gets away with it?
No, I'm quite in shape, I would say, and I try to do lots of sports during summer. Hit the gym a lot in summer, and also, or especially in the fall, just to get these legs ready. And biking in the summer, of course, and um, yeah, dude, you gotta be so on it these days just to be in shape, for everything. I mean, I will do a couple beers from time to time in summer, but then I like to stay even off the beers for a longer period during the winter just to stay focused, and to just be on top of my game because nothing's more important to me. And
Yeah,
yeah,
rappers
gotta hit
only.
the gym these days. Maybe it worked like that back in the days. I don't know if they had to hit the gym as much, but nowadays you gotta just to keep up with everyone else, because everyone's pretty damn good these days, so it's hard to keep up. It's a lot of work.
Yeah, I
You
can.
are gonna crash, at some point you are gonna crash, so you better be prepared to crash.
Yeah, especially how big you're going off of stuff.
Yeah.
Like I already kind of stopped hitting the bigger park jumps because I'm like, let's
Mm,
be honest here, like it's just not worth it for me. Or like I'll only land switch.
yeah,
Yeah,
that can help on the knee.
yeah, I've really been enjoying switch recently. It's
Yeah.
just switch
But then
set.
in the back, but then in the backcountry, that's tough. If you're like, I'm
Yeah,
just gonna land switch all year, I
yeah,
can
easy.
fight back.
Dude, it's been tough in the park too. Stew by tomorrow. Like I've seen the transitions out of that first
Yeah,
jump.
yeah, it's pretty slushy up there. But they might have gotten some snow yesterday, though, right?
I mean, that's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah,
Yeah, for those of you who are listening and not in Central Europe, snow has sucked for the last, what, 2, 3 years now?
yeah. I mean, we had some good days every now and then, but the
Yeah,
seasons were not the best, I would say.
no.
Yeah.
I like, it's funny, maybe you know more about this, but like, I've lived here for, I guess, close to like 3 years now. And I'll drive through the valley, like from Vorarlberg through Tyrol and past, and just see
Hmm.
all the ski lifts in all the small towns, like on the side
Hmm.
of the highway that's like smack dab in the valley. And for sure, those lifts have not run for like a few years now. Like I've not seen snow to the foot of them, like since I've been, and there's no snow blowers either. So I wonder if like the snow line has been receding like a hairline like throughout the years and just
Yeah,
up and up the
maybe it
mountain.
was receding a bit, but then there was always like some winters where there was so much snow at the same time, like it was on and off, sort of. But yeah, even for some of the small resorts, they're usually making artificial snow. So I'm not sure what lifts you were seeing, but yeah.
Can't quote me on it, man. I cannot pronounce the name of half the towns in this valley. Like, I have no idea. I know the valleys at least. I did Silletal, Stubaital, Ötztal,
Pit style.
Pitztal. That's your area, right?
No, pit style is also it's next to it style.
Oh, so
There's Stuba, and then the next one is Pits, and then Ötz, and then
oh,
it's very Schliss, Batsnown and all that, you know.
yeah. Well, that's a different state. That's
And
not.
Kaunadal, that's still Tyrol.
Okay, Countertal is a tall. Yeah, I just think of it as county.
Yeah.
Dude, so you grew up close to Germany, right?
Yeah, sort of. Maybe, yeah.
I see, like most of this place is
Yeah,
close.
most of Austria is pretty close to Germany.
Yeah. But I'm wondering, what was the vibe there between Germans and Austrians? Because living in Innsbruck, I've seen like what the vibe is here, but I'm curious over there.
Yeah, you know, there's always been some rivalry between Germany and Austria, I would say. Especially in sports, you know, in football, I mean, soccer, or skiing, of course. And yeah, I could imagine that there would be some clashes sometimes. But all in all, I think we get along, you know. We're very different, but at the same time, we're pretty similar, you know.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, we're just another German-speaking state in a way.
I think you're the first Austrian who's ever said that that I've heard.
Do we get along?
No, that you're not that different too. Like most people I'll talk to, like, oh, Germans are German, you know. There's this whole other like world.
No, yeah, we are different, but at the same time, if you compare it to other parts, it wouldn't be like Austrian and Germans wouldn't be too different to each other, you know.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I mean, I'm from Switzerland. Yeah.
But we're pretty similar, I would say.
Yeah,
and I get along with my Germans, so it's fine.
As you should. Yeah, yeah. Coming from Switzerland, like Swiss Germany, also feels like very similar in culture. It's even the region's called Dach, like so.
Yeah, the Dach area.
But yeah, it's funny. Like living here in Innsbruck, my car is registered in Germany. And it's an old Peugeot 206. And I just know, like, if I get pulled over by an Austrian cop with my German plates and shitty car, like, I'm screwed, you know?
Yeah.
It's like little things.
Nah, you'll be fine.
Yeah, hopefully.
Maybe the other people in traffic will honk at you more often if you don't speed up or something. But usually it should be fine.
But you think the German plates are going to be the fastest cars, but no, enter my 206 with the like 80 kilometer per hour speed cap. We're not going anywhere.
Yeah. Are you trying to resell that car when you leave?
Dude, actually, well, there's no when I leave, as far as I know so far. But I registered in Germany because like it's really hard to register a car in Austria as a non-German speaker. Like the amount of paperwork and processes were just way over my head. So I just gave up and put it under my girlfriend's name because she's German and, you know, lives over like.
Oh yeah, that would help. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, this is just easier and cars are cheaper in Germany. So I was like, yeah, like fine. But yeah, I probably should get it done in Austria as someone who lives here now. And also my car is kind of dead, unfortunately. It needs like 2,500 euros of repair for a car that costs 2,000 euros. So I'm like, I don't know if it's worth it.
Not sure if it's worth it, yeah. But I've been in that situation before where you have a car that's almost broken, you know, but it's still doing the job. And then all of a sudden there's all these repairs. And then you're like,
dude, it's so heartbreaking too because it's my Krümel. We call it Krümel, which means like crumb, I think, in German.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the Krümel, yeah.
Yeah, because it's orange and it looks like Krümel from that show that everyone watches in Germany growing up with the Niels. It's like a Swedish show, but all the German kids watched it. Do you know the one?
I think so. Niels Holgersson.
That one, yeah, where the kid gets shrunk down for mistreating animals, and then he's the size of a hamster, and so that hamster is Klimo, and the car looks the same. Yeah, but damn, they said they needed the repairs, and then the technician drained the transmission oil, and they were like, oh, there's like chunks of metal in it. I was like, hey, just do the minimum amount of repair you can. Like, I don't need a fancy, super legal car. I just need to get to the hill.
Over here, they're so strict with cars, like your car cannot leak not a single drop of oil, or it can't be rusty at all, and everything needs to be on point in order for you to be allowed to take it on the road. And
garage won't even do like half the work. I was like, hey, just do half, because I don't want to pay for the full thing. Like, like I don't need my brakes to be perfect. You know what I mean? Like okay, it's leaking, so what? La-di-da. But they refuse to do, like, they'll only do perfect condition work. But Germans and cars, like they don't half-ass their work. So,
and if your car is at a certain age, you have to do that every single year. Like every year you need to check up, and then they give you
Yeah, my tube is up in like 3 months anyway, so like I'm fucked. Like no matter what happens.
Do you try to stay in Austria for like a longer period of your life, or how do you?
I think so, man. I travel a lot, so for work until recently, I was going to the US a lot. So I was like doing half my life there, kind of, and half my life here in Austria. Because I was in Salt Lake City for a few years as well. But man, I just love Austria so much. Like, you probably have been to the US a good amount and will likely feel the same way. Like, just the ski culture around Innsbruck and in Austria in general blows, no offense to anyone, but blows anywhere in the US out of the water, in my mind. Like, I've lived in a lot of places, and what I really love living here is that, and this is obviously very personal to me, but everyone here skis, first off, or snowboards, which is sick. Everyone's down to do outdoorsy shit. And everyone's down to party. Like, I DJ a good amount. Here I run like a party series. The same people who are coming partying are the people I'm driving up to the hill with like 3 hours later to go hit park. It's Dubai or Hintertux, like in September, or October. It's so cool, and I can't think of anywhere else where you have that. Like, I connect with people on more levels than I did in the US ski culture, where I felt it was like, I guess people just weren't drinking, partying that much. It really comes down to that. Like, I'm a city guy. So yeah, it's
are they not partying in these ski towns in the US though?
Yeah, I mean, okay, I don't want to get caught saying something people are going to disagree with profoundly here, but I mean, my experience was, like, Park City, there's not really après-ski the way I know it in France. So I grew up singing in France and Switzerland. Like, there you have DJs, it's a techno event, or it's like, the typical Austrian, like, what are some good Austrian après-ski songs, like?
I'm sure there's a bunch, but I'm not too.
Yeah, you're probably not. Yeah, you're retired from that,
And then maybe that's because you're so used to everything you had in the US, then it's gotten kind of boring for you, and now you have this new look because you're in Innsbruck and everything's fresh and new for you.
I don't know, dude. I've only skied in the US since 2020. Like, I lived in Europe my whole life before that.
Oh, what?
Yeah, I'm from Switzerland, and I lived in France for as most I said, France, Portugal, and the UK. And then I moved to New York in 2019, but after the ski season. And then I started skiing that I didn't even ski that winter of 2020, actually, because I was on the East Coast where it sucks. And then this COVID hit, so everything shut down. So I was like, fuck. But then I did 2 seasons in Salt Lake City after that because I was now working remote and I didn't have to be in the city anymore. So my job would let me live wherever I wanted, pretty much. So I did Salt Lake, and it's like I liked it there, but I didn't make any good friends while I was there. Like, it was hard to connect with people outside of ski world. Like, I had good ski homies for sure. But like the social life after that was like, hey, come, whatever, smoke a joint in my dorm, or, and the street crews were also like kind of hard to like hang out with because Salt Lake, like street scene, I feel people are pretty protective with their spots. And then there's like really strict scenes there. Like, Salt Lake's, I don't know, maybe Salt Lake's particular in like an interesting place, but there's like the swervy skiers kind of who are like the kids who are only skiing street or maybe will go to Brighton. And then there's like the comp skiers who are like all at Park City, but they only ski 2 hours a day and then are somewhere, maybe a training camp, I don't know. But like the sun goes down at 2 p.m. and they're gone. And then there's all the free riders, right, who are just like alto or die or snow. So it's funny. It's just like it's a very kind of segregated ski scene almost over there. And because
where in Switzerland did you grow up?
In Geneva. Geneva. Yeah. So French is my first language, actually. But my mom's Portuguese and my dad's American, so I've always had this whole blend. I could never decide which side of the pond I liked more. So I did the US for a few years, and now I'm back, kind of.
So you speak Portuguese as well?
Yeah, Portuguese, Italian, some Spanish. I lived in Mexico for a while during the pandemic. That was cool.
Yes.
And then really shitty German from having to learn in middle school in Switzerland.
Swiss German.
No, we learn Hochdeutsch there, at least.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Anyone who doesn't know, Swiss Germans cannot speak with Germans. It's a different language.
Yeah, it's tough. Also, my dialect from back home is so different to normal German. A normal German-speaking person would not understand me if I wanted to, because I just use words that are super only local,
Hell yeah. And I bet you understand them fully, right?
Yeah. And understand all the German for sure.
I think we have that with French Canadian and French as well. If you go far up Quebec, like you'll hit a point where I will not understand your French anymore, but they'll still completely understand me because I'll speak like normal textbook French, Yeah. Funny how languages work that way. And then you get to Switzerland where it's like you take a train 2 hours and you're in Swiss Germany from the French speaking part, and you can't even speak in the same language to the people from your same country.
It's
so
crazy.
You speak English to them, then they think you're American. Like the tourist hate.
Like people who are from the same country are speaking their second language to each other. It's funny.
Oh yeah, dude, I speak English to so many of my Swiss friends, and sure, whatever. So your event that you do, dude, Rich's roll, did I say that right?
Yeah.
So is that happening also? Is that crazy pyramid feature in Kitzsteinhorn?
Yeah, it's around Kitzsteinhorn.
Dude, tell the people what that's about, because that was such a sick event. And the YouTube video, for anyone who hasn't seen it, like, go watch the ending. It's pretty dope. Very creative.
So Rich's Roll is the spot at my home resort, Kitzsteinhorn. It looks like a pyramid in a way. And first time we put a jump there was in 2021 for our movie Long Days. And then at some point we decided that it's such a sick spot, it would be cool to do some sort of comp there, like a big air, backcountry big air invitational was sort of the plan. And yeah, so what we did was we filmed it in the spring, and then coming fall, we would present it as the live stream of the comp, and that was sort of, we were presenting this instead of the movie that we would usually bring out in fall. And yeah, so the whole movie is built up like a live stream. We had some riders invited. So we were a good crew of riders. It was all a Legs of Steel project. And the riders who we had invited was Paddy Graham, Marcus Eder, Tanner Hall, ABM, Remco Kaiser, Victor Mosman, Austrian homie, Patrick Schuchter, the local legend, and Ferdinand Dahl. And yeah, it was the lineup. And then we just hit the spot as a session over a few days. And then we were editing it in sort of a way that it comes across like a live stream of the comp that we were doing. And it was crazy because many people were hitting me up, like when we started to put the word out that we were going to do a live stream comp on this this backcountry spot. People were hitting me up, be like, yo, there's no snow in the backcountry. Are you sure you're going to do this? And we're like, nah, dude, it'll be enough, And then some other people would ask me if they can come help build the jump. But we were like, nah, it's all built, it's all good, no help needed and stuff like that. It felt crazy. And then we just published the live stream, and it was insane because to this day I still think that there are some people who believe the live stream and still think that there was a comp happening.
Oh yeah, unless you watch the video until the end, like
you watch it to the end in order to get it. Yeah,
I didn't know until I saw it to the end. So yeah, I don't.
There were some hints. There were some hints in the beginning as well, and during the whole thing. But yeah, to really understand it, you have to watch it to the end.
And if you look on YouTube, I don't know if you have the stats for it, but any graph I've seen on YouTube for views of a thing is like it starts and then kind of like you lose so many viewers in the first whatever minutes, and the percentage that watch the whole video is like 5% on average, I think. Dudes, 1 in 20 or 19 and 20 people probably didn't even know they were not watching live stream.
Yeah. And then some other people hit me up and be like, yo, there was still time on the clock. Why did the live stream end? And I'm like, what? We had some technical difficulties. So we had to stop it. But yeah, I'm super stoked that it worked out the way it did. It was so much work, man. I was stressed out for 2 or 3 weeks straight because I had to organize so much stuff, and it's also a pretty remote spot that you have to be careful to get to and from, and there is heavy danger like always, and we were a big crew with all the filmers and all the riders, and safety is just the biggest priority. And I just had to go through so many people just in order to be able to pull it off. So big thanks to my home resort, Kitzsteinhorn, who has been a sponsor of mine for so many years. And of course, big thanks Völkl skis as always, Marka, Dalbello, and Dakine. Wouldn't be possible without all these guys. So yeah, big thanks.
Hell yeah. No, it was so dope to watch, and that's what I was thinking to myself too. I was like, how easily accessible is this spot? Because it's huge, and I don't think I've seen many people hit it before. And then two, if it's difficultly accessible, like how do you get the whole crew and like film people and out there and all that? I'm sure logistically it was like crazy.
Yeah, logistically it was super tough because also the time we filmed it was pretty late in the spring, so the snow would go back, so we couldn't ski all the way down to the valley, so we had to have some cars pick us up, and it was just a huge pain in the ass to get the allowance, because in Austria you can't just drive on any road, you need the keys to the gate, all that, and you have to talk to so many people and it's tough, to describe to them, to like some, I don't know, some hunters or whatever, to describe to them.
Yeah, exactly.
We need to drive from here a couple times to get some riders from our big air backcountry event. It was super hard to get it across, but it all worked out, and yeah, wow, I'm super glad.
Nice.
It all went down like that, and I hope I can do it again, man. So at some point, I'll definitely have to do it again, but it all depends on the conditions, if they line up, and yeah.
Dude, I hope so too. There's a shot from the video that I still have anchored in my head, and I forget who, but someone did a cork 3 and just went to the moon and back.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was the local up-and-comer Patrick Schuchter.
Yeah.
His first hit, and he sort of floated, because usually it would be something like this when you hit the jump, but he went so fast that he'd go like, whoosh, and then just keep going. And
yeah, dude, he was still boosting upwards by the time he got to the landing. I was like, you're supposed to come down into the landing, right? Like, not like up.
I was hiking up the landing when it happened, and I'm looking up to him, and I'm like, oh my dude, like, where is he going? I've rarely ever seen an overshoot like that in real life. But luckily, he was alright after the crash. Yeah. And then he ended up killing the section, man. He had some sick shots, and crushed it. So yeah, super stoked on how he was riding.
How many meters do you think he fell from the apex of his jump to where he actually landed?
Dude, it must have been something like, I don't know, 14 or something? 15 meters? I don't know.
More, no? Like,
maybe even more.
Like, it was real. Yeah, like, go watch it, anyone listening to this, because it's nuts, dude. And he traveled like 100 meters, maybe, like
maybe not 100 meters,
maybe not 100, but like a lot.
But dude, what also was crazy was we had to chop up the landing because it was just pure ice overnight. It froze. We were like, damn, now now what?
You chopped up the whole landing before the event?
Yeah, because it was just straight ice, and if you would have fallen on that ice, you would just slide down hundreds of meters all the way to the bottom and just get burnt. So we had to chop it up, and then it felt sort of almost like a mobile jump type landing, how they always just chop up the landing and then just go for it. So yeah, we had to do that, but it still worked well, because at some point we were like, oh no, now what? Like all the preparations we had to do, and then the landing freezes overnight,
Yeah.
The day when we wanted to do a session. But yeah, luckily it all worked out, and all the riders were throwing down, so yeah, couldn't be anymore.
Dude, let's talk about that in run. Like, how fast do you think the peak speed was going into that? It was close,
maybe 100 kilometers, I would say, because we had to pin it, because you really needed a lot of speed, and of course you would lose a lot of speed going up the ramp, and which was what was also really tricky is to get the right transition, to have like, because if the transition like
factor,
this, the compression exactly is you're gonna get cheat out if it doesn't line up. So we had to make a cat track almost where the main compression was. We had to make a cat track for the in run that was like this tall, and we all had to which we had to block, like it was a whole like, just the in run itself was a huge build in order to make the compression doable. And yeah, pretty crazy. Also the in run, how it was like, we were going in like, and then you go so fast, and then you go up and you lose some speed, but you're still going kind of fast. And it just boosts you up in the air, and then it was a big drop where it felt like, but yeah.
How was the lip? Was it like poppy or kind of like a flat, just like
sort of flat, but we had some pop on it, but we would always play with it a little bit and then adjust. But yeah,
nuts.
Pretty crazy jump, crazy build, and yeah, we also have some more ideas what we could do at the spot in the future if everything lines up. But yeah, stay tuned, I would say.
Did anyone hit it switch? I forget.
No,
No,
we didn't hit it switch. I wish, but yeah, it just didn't make sense to any of us. So yeah, maybe the transition needs even more work next year, and then we can hit it switch. I would be super keen to hit it switch.
Yeah.
So it's definitely going to go down at some point sooner or later. I'll hit it switch.
Did anyone land switch?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A bunch of people. Yeah, I did it up 12. And
right. Dude, I'm forgetting all the shots. So in the chopped up ice, that was fine to land switch?
Yeah, sort of. Or surprisingly, yeah, it worked surprisingly well. We were not sure. With the classic backcountry jump scenario where everyone's just standing there and you're like, I'm not sure if this is going to work out, and then at that point, you've already put so much effort into it, like all the building, and you brought cameras out, the film crew, you brought your sponsors in, you convinced them that it's a good idea, and then you're never even sure if it's going to work until the first person hits it. And
yeah, at that point, it's like, might as well.
It's just such a gamble, every backcountry sport, in a way. You're never sure, is this even going to work,
Yeah.
A lot of hoping.
Yeah, I mean, it worked out pretty well. Like, it looks so fun to.
Yeah.
What are your DINs set to on that jump when you're dropping in?
13. Yeah.
Oh, really? I would think higher for some reason.
No, because at some point I'm always stressed out about knees and all of that stuff. So I feel like 13 is a good compromise. Can you call it that?
Yeah. Here's a question I've never asked a pro skier. I'd love your take. What is the right DIN to have on a park ski in the park?
Right DIN?
Yeah, if you weigh like average weight, average height, whatever, 70 kilos, meter 75 or whatever, or 65 kilos.
I would say maybe 12.
That's what I'm saying, dude. I'm rocking like 11, 12 minimum.
Or 11 even, yeah, because at some point you want your skis to open, unless you want to go super big and you know that you are going to go so big that you land, you're just going to explode if the DINs are not set to 14 or whatever, then you can do it. But I would say it's a lot safer if it's not that high. So for me, 13 is fine.
Yeah.
Even 12 I would say works. I'm around 80 kilos.
Because, dude, I've hit rails where I'll like pop my ski off doing a pretzel, and that's it at 10 on like pivots, Or worse, I've ripped my ski off on a mute. Like, that's one of the worst crashes I've had, is ripping your ski off midair. And then I don't know if people have like the smarts to land on one ski. I did not when this happened, so I put my foot down as well. Like, tip trick, if you ever rip your ski off midair, do not put your foot down that doesn't have the ski on, because it just catches in the snow, which I did. And like, I rolled over my leg like the weirdest way, like it should have been so bad, and then like obviously body slammed myself into the ground. I was like, shit, I need to set my DINs like way higher. What am I doing? Yeah. And speaking of big jumps and big DINs, we have to talk about the big Modellino jump movie, because
the Modellino jump. Yeah.
That was like, can people see this to this day? Is that on YouTube?
Yes. Or it might be on Red Bull TV.
Red Bull TV. What was the name of the movie again?
Same Difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, Same Difference.
And different.
which is
So, yeah.
another Legs of Steel movie. And what they were trying to do is highlight three different sorts of skiing. So they had free ride skiing, freestyle skiing, and also race skiing.
Right.
So, and it was sort of a documentary in a way. And what we were doing for freestyle was trying to go the biggest ever, get the biggest airtime ever. And that's when they built the most insane jump I have ever seen in Livigno. It was just a mountain of snow. And yeah, we were trying to hit it. We were trying to go super big. And we did go super big, but it came with some complications, I would say. But yeah, I was super thankful to be part of that project. It was pretty big, and oh wow, dude, it was wow. Just thinking back to this jump is insane because I've never hit a bigger jump. Period. But what was also crazy is because we had to ski race or a race tuck into the jump, and the jump would have a 46-degree takeoff. So skiing into it, it looked like a QP, and you're going straight into this jump and you're like, what am I even doing, because the jump was so insane. It was like 46 degrees takeoff and then 50-meter table, and you had to go
100 meters of flat.
Yeah. 50 meters of flat and then a 46-degree takeoff that you would ski in with 110 kilometers or something.
So it's 150 feet for the a flat.
Just the table of flat. Yeah.
And so the sweet spot's like 200 feet essentially, right? Like,
and you had to get the right speed around 110, 115 because 105 you come up short, and then 120 or 25 you go too big. And so we also had a speed camera because it's so hard to tell whether you're going 105 or 110. It's so hard to tell the difference. What was also tricky was the speed you would lose on the way up on the jump because it was such a huge jump. I can't even describe how big it was. Yeah. So you'd lose speed there, and then you would never know if you were going to make it. And we ended up. Or should I even spoil it? Should I tell people to look for themselves? But yeah, we got pretty destroyed in a way.
Yeah, dude, everything got worked. Like, it was really funny. So, I saw this movie in London. I don't know what you guys were doing a ski movie premiere in London. But that's like where I met you the first time. And you were there with Patty.
Yeah.
I was living in London at the time, and I was like, I had a friend who worked at Red Bull, and I went with them to this movie premiere, and then turns out it was a ski movie premiere. I had no idea. It was like in the London Bridge area. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, like sick, like this works out. And I was like, great, like around skiers, and we like went out and all that like afterwards, but just during the whole movie, I just remember like the introduction of the jump, and my first thought was like, I've seen a lot of like crazy jumps go down in the early days of skiing. Remember when like super parks were a thing? Like, hey, let's build the biggest, gnarliest setup imaginable and have pros hit it and try to get some clips. Like, it's a shame those days are gone too, but like Big Berta comes to mind, and then like Mammoth, where they like in the early free ski days where there were just no rules, and then of course like Mike Wilson doing his whatever 110-foot gap thing and just dying. But like of all those things, I have to say like this jump that you guys built was by far like the gnarliest one I think I've ever seen. And the thing is, it was so well built too. Like it was like gnarly. Like I think it was. I mean, who built the jump? Was it like the shaper from Nine Nights or?
Yeah, I think that Schneestern crew might have built it.
I can't remember, but I was like, this looks like a really.
It was so calculated, like it all made sense on paper, and
Yeah.
that's the only reason why we decided to hit it in the
Yeah.
first
And
place.
what was the mission like? Oh, we
To
just
get them,
wanted to see what the like
no,
physics
like
limit
no
was.
mission, sort of to get the most airtime off the jump possible.
Yeah.
And I think Paddy on his overshoot, he did like 4.5 seconds in the air, which is crazy. A little over four, dude. He went way too big. It was insane. Wow.
It was nuts. Yeah, and he got worked. And then you got worked too, right? You undershot it?
Yeah. Because I went back and then undershot it because I was going to do it again, because I didn't want to step away from it. And I've already hit it before and it was fine. And then some other hit, I went way too short. And dude, it's crazy on a jump of this size. As soon as you take off and you know you're going to come up short, it's insane.
So much
Everything. You have so much time. Those 3 or 4 seconds are the longest.
Oh, no.
Because it was crazy. I knew I was going to come up short immediately. I was like, now what? And it was one of these crazy moments when you have so many things that happen in your life flashing before your eyes in a way, almost, because you just don't know. Apparently, your brain is looking for a scenario where you were this stressed before and is looking for a way to get out of it or to remember what you did when this happened, and just goes through all your memories super quick in
That's
a way.
interesting. I didn't know that.
And then you know that you're gonna have a massive impact, dude. And I still remember the day I came up short a good ski length, and on a jump like that, that's insane, dude. And I smashed my knees into my face from like 12 meters to flat or something, and then smashed my knees into my face almost as if I don't know, a professional boxer would hit me like with all his force, full force.
Yeah.
And I just got bucked like this and then fell down the landing. And looking at it now, I'm so surprised that my legs were all good. My legs were fine, Everything I did was break the eye socket.
Oh, dude, I did that too. I had facial reconstruction surgery here. Because I
No
kneed
way.
myself in the face. Wakeboarding was mine.
Oh,
Yeah.
what? You did wakeboarding?
Yeah. Wait, did you get the surgery? They peeled your face off and they had to.
No, I was lucky enough that they didn't have to do surgery.
Oh, wow.
And yeah,
No,
which is kind of.
yeah. I had a hole in my forehead. So it's here. This is all metal for me.
Oh,
I have a scar. Yeah, see that?
Oh, dude, yours was way gnarlier than mine.
Yeah, so they peel your face off. But it's funny because, every now and again I'll see someone with this scar on both sides. And I'm like, you had facial reconstruction surgery. And they're like, how do you know? And then one day I met a guy who had the facial reconstruction surgery. And we talked like that. As we're talking, I kid you not, turns out his name is also Alex. I'm like, oh, I'm Alex too. And then we keep talking and something comes up and we show our friends our IDs to show that we have the same name because they didn't believe us. And they look at the IDs and I kid you not, the person's like, yo, you guys have the same birthday. Like,
No way. What?
no way. Are you joking? He was like a few years younger, but I was
Yeah,
like,
that dude is my brother.
this is a guy I met at a bar. I'll never see him again. Can't really remember his contact, but what a sick night.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Man, that coming down like that from the jump. I mean, what about your first time hitting it? How did that go?
First time was great. I made it. Yeah. And just like when I did not make it, on the hit that I make it, I also knew immediately, oh yes, I am gonna make it. Even though the jump was so big that you would take off and look at the knuckle and you're like, whoa, it's so far away. How am I even gonna? But you're going so fast, and then you quickly realize that you are gonna land, and then it's one of the best feelings ever.
Yeah.
But when you take off and you know you're gonna come up short, that's one of the worst feelings ever, I would say.
Yeah. I can imagine. I bet the craziest is like all the time coming up you have, like off the
Mhm.
jump, because it's like blast off.
Yeah, it
And so
was
you just straight
crazy.
aired it, right? And then that second hit didn't go too well.
Yeah, and the plan was to do some tricks on it,
Well, yeah.
and I don't know. Maybe we would have gotten really worked if we started doing tricks on it, and that's the reason why we got crushed on the straight airs. Just
Yeah. I mean,
it
it's
was
so
for
sick
our
you
own good.
cleared it. At least like you get that claim to fame. You've definitely hit the biggest park jump ever, right? Like, can you claim
Yeah,
that?
probably. Yeah.
Who's gone bigger? Like, I don't know.
No.
Dude, you should call up Guinness World Records, see if they can hook you up.
Dude, I went the biggest ever.
Yeah.
No, I'm sure, dude, there's some crazy people out there who have gone insanely big. So I
For
would
sure.
be surprised.
There's always that local legend from the mountain who like did it back in the 80s or
Yeah.
something. You know, like.
Yeah.
So yeah, dude, mad props for clearing it for sure. What I love the most about the movies, so bit of a spoiler, you're the only one who like cleared it successfully, right?
No, there were some other people clearing it as well. Lucas Joas, who was skiing there, he cleared it, and we had Christoph Schenk there, who was able to clear it as well, I think.
Oh, wait, was Lucas the other guy in the movie? Because I forget his name.
Yeah, Lucas Joas. He's not skiing as much anymore, but he was the other guy in the movie. And
I was gonna say, like, that guy was
he
just,
might have crashed, though. He cleared it, but might have crashed. If I
yeah,
remember correctly.
I don't know. Last time I saw it was in London when it premiered, so it's been a while. But I just remember his quote. He was just like, like everyone died on it. And he was just like, "Yeah, I really want to hit it switch. Like that's my goal." I was like, "Dude, are you nuts?" Like, more comfortable switch anyway with tricks. I was like, "All right."
Yeah. Dude, wow, what an early jump.
So Christoph Schenk hit it because I know that I've never met him, but I just remember this was what 10 years ago, maybe now. No one was doing triple corks at all, and out of nowhere, he just dropped a clip with like a triple cork 18. It looks like he overshot a triple 16, and then somehow wrapped it around and like backslapped, but didn't die and rode away. I was like, "What the fuck did I just
The craziest tricks way before everyone else was even thinking about these tricks, or way before these tricks were even a thing." And yeah, big ups to him. And speaking of Christoph, he had an early accident with a paraglider some years ago, and it was hard for him to come back from that accident. But I hear that he's doing better now. And
I saw footage of him skiing some point in the last 2-3 years.
Yeah, he's skiing again, I think. But yeah, he had a super gnarly accident with a paraglider. He was falling down.
Oh, he just.
So I'm glad he's doing alright, and I'm glad he's still able to ski.
Yeah. Did he just fall from high?
He was paragliding, and apparently, I don't even know. So I don't want to speak about it too much since I don't know the story exactly. But I've heard that it had to do something with because he was paragliding, and there was a helicopter in the area, and if helicopter gets close to a paraglider, it can cause some
gust,
holes in the air or whatever you want to call that, and then yeah. But I have to ask him again how it all went down. But I'm glad he's doing all right, and yeah.
Yeah, dude. Mad vibes going out to him for sure.
Yeah, he's the man. Still is the man. No,
So this big jump you built in Modolino, it was over the town, right? Or like pretty close, and probably like in April.
Yeah, it was close to some small town, some small mountain town was at the bottom of the jump. And at some point, these people were worried like they called the authorities because they were worried that that their village is going to get swept by this jump, because that's how big it was. It was super, almost unrealistic looking size of that jump. It's hard to put in words how big it really was.
It looked like CGI, like from a Hollywood movie.
Yeah.
It's just this insane pile of snow and then grass, and it's just where did that even come from?
Dude, it was so intimidating. Wow, we were scared.
Who had the idea to do that? Who pitched it?
It was Paddy's jump, because he wanted to go hit the biggest jump ever, pretty much. So it was his idea. And he was also the one who hit it first. And dude, it was so gnarly. I still think about it sometimes, how we were up there and it was just so tense. You could feel the tension. And then there was this tiny bit of wind that we were worried about a little bit, because everything had to be so precise and there was no room for error at all. And yeah, in the end, there were some errors, I would say, but
yeah, man, you mentioned the speed guns. I was just thinking about this. Like, is someone gonna tell you mid drop, like, Tom, watch out? You're like 3 kilometers off. Like, what do you do? Like, you gonna break 100 kilometers of speed off? Like, you'll like, I don't know.
There was a speed gun, but then the display where you could see your speed was maybe like when you were in the transition of the jump, you would see the speed, but then you could never be sure, like, how much speed am I going to lose on the way up?
Yeah.
Has it gotten any slower? There was some sun to it. You always had to make your calculations, and it was just every hit was super scary.
Yeah, because I guess if you salt it, that's like a whole nother variable that you probably don't want to risk. Like,
because you don't want to go too big either. Like overshooting this jump would end in
worse. But yeah, it didn't look good either. I mean, it's it's funny. I've like had this conversation with people before, and it's just like one of the things I appreciate so much about freestyle skiing is like how it's kind of the least scientific sport to this day. Like, at least you guys had some science to the big jump, but like most of the time you'll just show up to a massive jump and just ask some kid, be like, where do you think the speed's from? It's like, oh yeah, it's been pretty sunny, you should try like there, like do wax. Yeah. It's like, maybe once at one time, so, you'll be fine. Just go for it. It's like such brutal consequences if you like fuck up.
For real.
Yeah, no other sport is like that loose to this day.
Mm-hmm.
You go to Penkin, you can just hit those massive jumps and like jerry the living daylights out of it if you wanted to.
Yeah, or maybe biking is sort of similar in that way. Those guys are gnarly.
Oh, true, dude. Biking is gnarly as hell. Yeah, very true. Yeah. No chill there either.
Yeah.
And then, so everyone should go watch this movie. What was it again? Same Difference?
Same Difference? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's still Same Difference.
You should repost some of that on social or something, or just do a cut, like a 3 or 4 minute kind of like,
yeah, maybe.
Like, just give it some fresh life, because I don't think that movie's ever getting old. Like, no one's out you guys,
Yeah, it's a good watch.
Yeah, for sure.
Still. And also, shout out to Paddy for hitting that jump and then get so injured on it, and then working so hard and still coming back and still doing it. Like he's always coming up with new stuff that he wants to do and just still doing it, and that's very inspiring, I would say.
Yeah, I was super bummed when he got worked, because I was kind of like, the whole movie you're kind of like rooting for you guys, and you're just like, oh no, like this is going horribly wrong.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Dude, I think one like last iconic Legs of Steel shoot that is worth mentioning, that I don't know how old it is or how many people have seen it, but it's that the three-way jump.
Oh, the Counterdal train, yeah.
Oh, was that in Connetal?
Yeah, that's Counterdal.
Oh, hell yeah. Were you part of that?
No, I wasn't there for that one because I wasn't filming with them yet when there was passenger. And I think I might have also gotten injured that spring when all of that happened, but I'm not sure.
So many people hit it and were doing fucked tricks. I assume like every skier in Austria was like at that shoot.
So many skiers were there. Wow, they all crushed it.
Oh yeah, dude, it's a gnarly setup. For anyone who ever wants to go watch it, it's what was the movie called?
I think it's Passenger.
Passenger, yes.
Passenger, right?
Yeah, and so I don't know who built it, but it's like two jumps, and I guess people aren't going to be watching the video, but like one jump coming from the left, one jump coming from the right, kind of at diagonal angles, and then a bigger booter through the middle, and then the landing's kind of like circular to the extent where you can like pull left, right, or middle. And then I guess it was built and timed so that three skiers could hit like each individual jump and not collide in the air, but like kind of tower stack over each other. So it'd be like whatever, like a meter or 2 meters below like the other person. And it's super fun to watch. It looks fake. Like it's crazy.
Yeah. Super sick.
Those are one of those like clips that also needs to resurface. Like, can you think of any like lost ski footage that really like has marked your mind as like memories you'll never lose that probably not many people have seen nowadays?
Maybe some of the older stuff.
Yeah, probably older stuff.
Tom Ritsch Super Unknown edit. I'm not sure if any of the young or most of the young skiers nowadays have seen it.
I don't know if you understand it today.
Dude, the way it changed everything was insane, dude. Wow.
It's like the Beatles of skiing, but it's hard to explain like nowadays because to anyone it's just like an edit, and it's hard to be like, yo, like this edit a concept wasn't even a thing back then, you know?
Yeah, such a game changer. Big ups, Tom Ritsch. Still doing it. Wow. Still crushing.
Yeah, what is he doing nowadays? Still announcing and riding.
And riding and
the Steel City Showdown.
Exactly.
And that JP Auclair throwback edit that we were talking about.
Company stuff, and it's just
keeping
stuff busy, it seems like. And big ups to him.
Can you think of any? Like I was thinking, can you think of any really gnarly feats that people have accomplished on skis that are not being done today because it's just too gnarly? Like in the early days, like Mike Wilson.
Mine immediately is hitting Chad's switch, which is just gnarly still to this day. It's insane to do like a switch 9 that T Hall did. And also,
Chad's?
No,
dude, I have.
I mean, I know sort of where it is with like the road and all that and Grizzly Gulch, but I've never been there. But I'd be keen to check it out at some point. Just to be there to see this iconic spot, you know.
You gotta go. You would love. I mean, it's right up your alley. But I was there a few years ago, and some crew had shaped it right before we showed up. Like, there's no way I was hitting this thing. It was the most fucked, like, at least 100 meters of just straight slope. Like, you're just bombing down a mountain, pretty much. And it's all hand shaped, right? So it's like the bounciest in run probably ever. And then it's just like this little booter into just oblivion. Like when you're there, like when you watch it on video, you might not think to yourself like, oh, it's that gnarly, because maybe people aren't doing dubs or like getting that much airtime, which they do. Like people do triple backflips on it, but compared to like park jumps nowadays. But man, when you're there and you just see this thing, like, it just looks like there's a jump to nowhere. Like you cannot compute that the landing's like way over there behind a mountain. You know, it's crazy. Yeah.
And it got even bigger when Ski Patrol blew it up, right? What did you say?
Yeah. I heard it's not there anymore.
It's not there anymore, exactly.
Years ago. Don't worry about it.
Another sick feat that has yet to be done again by anyone was Dumon's QP record.
Oh, 3 quarter pipes are gone.
I was just talking to a homie about it. How gnarly that was. And also the trick he did was so proper. And just, wow, dude. I'm really curious if anyone's ever going to beat that, you know, because QP is the gnarliest thing you could do.
Oh,
probably.
dude, you don't know about, what was it, Kevin Roland's project?
Oh, yeah.
I think that's what he did, right? He just tried to beat it for no reason.
He tried to beat it, and he had a super gnarly crash.
He got worked, dude.
Yeah.
God, I don't know if is he back from that yet? I forget.
I think he's skiing again. So
this was what 2-3 years ago now.
Yeah, dude. Like big ups to Kevin for always coming back, dude. As well. Like
really,
wow.
Yeah. I hope he's good because that was not chill. Like, I forget the name of the project. If any, there's did he ever put the project out?
Yeah, that was a project, and it's.
So I read about it in the news originally.
Yeah,
news, but
yeah, it was super gnarly. Wow.
Yeah, if someone wants to Google Kevin Roland quarter pipe, that was like a gnarly thing. But I mean, that's what skiing was back in the day, right? Like Big Bertha's another one that comes to mind. Just like the jump that was never cleared.
Mm-hmm. Dude, Candide coming up short on that one. Wow.
Yeah. Then I don't know. There's that feature that Rage Film built. Have you seen that video where it's like a jump that you can hit from both sides?
Oh yeah.
And
what was that?
I forget, but it's like, yeah, you can drop in from either side of the valley pretty much, and then the gap is in the middle of the valley, and the takeoff of one jump is the landing of the other, so you can go back and forth.
Yeah.
And it's one hit.
Was that Enjoy maybe the name of the movie?
Okay.
Or Rage. But it could be a different one though.
I don't know, it's 2006 or 7. But yeah, that one kid comes up short and just like hits the sign of Rage Film that was like below the lip, and I think like blew an artery in his neck and like almost died or something. Like it was pretty fucked. But you know Marty, look, of course, Marty Misov, yeah.
Oh, Martin Misov, of course, yeah.
Yeah, so we had him on the show, like he did the last one or just the one before, and I kept mentioning all these like older spots, and every time I brought up a spot, he was like, "Oh yeah, I was there," or like, "Oh yeah, I was supposed to be at that race, but I can make it." Yeah. I had no idea how plugged into just everything he was.
Yeah.
Ripping Switch 12s when they weren't even a thing.
Yeah, way back. You know, so 14s with big U grab and all that. It was, dude, he's a legend. Still
Did you know him growing up? Was he like a big local hero kind of guy around here? Or?
Yeah, of course I knew who Martin Misov was growing up as a skier. Because there was only a handful of people in Austria really doing it, you know, so you would definitely know him.
That's sick. Yeah, because he's like just probably the generation before I got into freestyle skiing, because I was a snowboarder for a while, so I missed a few years. But yeah, just hearing his stories of like the early days of freestyle skiing and how rowdy everyone was, and just like getting fights everywhere, and like all these Simon Dumont stories, and like all this.
Yeah, whole different game back in the days.
Yeah, dude, I was so sad
Because
when
you had to be gnarly in a way, because there was no airbags and stuff, and training for all these crazy tricks, like learning new tricks. You had to go in the park in the fall, like icy conditions, and then be like, all right, let's try this. Maybe I can just do this and then spin as hard as I can and then see what happens, and then just.
dude, exactly right, and it's like
So much shit back then.
I know. I find it hard to hate on airbags because now that I have one nearby with Bangor Park, it's like, oh, this is actually pretty cool. Because if I had done that in snow, I would have died. But like here, I can just do it again and again and again, and it's fine, and I'll learn the trick. But I do kind of like, I really enjoyed that aspect of free skiing that was just like, hey guys, should we try cork 7 today? And we're like, oh, I don't know. Then you like rip a beer or two, and you're like, oh, I think I got it actually. Like, how do you do it again? It's this, bro. Just spin and like flip and shit. And you're like, okay. And you'll like die on one or like make it on the other. But that was part of the game, like you just get bodied and have to like chill for the rest of the day.
If you wanna learn dubs, like double corks and all that, and you no airbag, and all you have is this park jump, and then you're like, all right, maybe if I do cork 7 and just try to do whatever, maybe we'll end up as a double. It was so much more experimenting.
It was scary.
Back then.
Do you remember your first dub?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, when was it?
Dude, I was so scared, but I knew I had it in a way. I was super pumped then. And then my first dub was first proper dub, switched up 10 mute.
Oh, your first dub was switched up 10?
Yeah, it made the most sense for me.
Yeah.
In a way.
I mean, I can see that now.
It makes a lot of sense, yeah.
Was it like nice and flippy? Or did you gangster accent?
No, proper flippy. And then for some time I did it pretty flat. Or no. When I think about it now, first they started being super flat in a way where you would be looking at it and be like, oh, was that dub or not? You weren't sure. And then you're like, damn, I want to get it proper dub. Like even like you should be able to tell like the flips and all that. And it's funny because nowadays it's all about the wobbly, like.
Yeah, I was going to say, dude.
Like nowadays it's where it's at. And then back then you're like, oh, that wasn't really dub, people give a shit if you really dipped twice or whatever. And nowadays the flatter it is, the better almost. The axis.
Yeah, well now the conversations are like, oh, that wasn't really quad. And I'm like,
yeah, dude.
Appreciate this was like a double. Like,
yeah. That was just 2 dubs in a row, like, dude, if you told this anyone like 15 years ago or something, the people would do quad 21s, 60s and stuff like that. What, dude? How is that even a trick?
Yeah, dude, I still remember the first triples. I remember like the first doubles. Like it was pretty fun. Like
the doubles came around.
My first dub was a kangaroo, like just dub 7. Yeah,
nice.
Because it was easy to get into the POW, and it wouldn't need too much airtime. Like for dub cork 10, I felt like I needed to boost more, and like there wasn't like ever a good spot to do it. Dub 7 always came around, but it was always so sketchy because like the first time I did it on snow, the second I got it, I was like, okay, we're taking this to the park. And I would do it, and I just remember my first one, I like tried to come around, and I just caught my noses into the knuckle because I fucked up the speed of the jump and just got completely bodied into the lane. I had a fresh helmet, so like I didn't get too worked, but I was like, ooh, I cannot do another one of those. Like that's gonna hurt. So I was like, let me just boost it and just go to 9 because that felt safer. And then it worked out, and I landed that, and I got really cocky, and I was like, okay, dub 10, like, fuck it, like, today's the day, everything's clearing. And then I hucked the dub 10 and got lost in the air, did some sort of 12 axis and whipped my head into the snow, concussed out, like end of the season. It was April already, but yeah, I never really got around to it again. I have unfortunately never done a forward double cork, but maybe this year, before I turn 30.
You hit the bag a couple of times and then you got it.
That's what I'm thinking. I've done it on bag a few times, but I don't know, dude. I'm kind of over big jumps. I don't know about you. Like, obviously, no, you're doing huge, gnarly shit, but
Well, I wanna build some big jumps again.
yeah,
No, definitely.
I'm just like, it hurts so much when I fall now, as stupid as it sounds to say, and predictable.
Yeah.
But I was talking to Marty too. I was like, Martin, I was like, dude, do you ski anymore? He's like, nah, no way. I was like, why? He's like, well, or I was like, do you miss anything with skiing? He's like, yeah, I really miss like backflips. Like that was the best feeling, you know? Oh, why don't you just rip a backflip at the park? He's like, nah, the math isn't there. Like if I do a backflip, over rotate, like snap my ACL, like then what? You know, like fuck that.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I'm not doing that kind of math in my head right now, but I guess I have 10 years to go. Like, I think your body just degrades over time where things just hurt more and like crashes are less predictable.
Consequences come into play.
It's always that Russian roulette when you crash, kind of like you mentioned with yours, where you're like, oh, surprisingly, my legs were okay. You know, you just like eat it, and then you get that whole adrenaline rush in your body, and you just get up and you're like, all right, let's see what I break. Like shoulder one, good. Shoulder two, oh, okay, shoulder's gone. Like what's next? And you're just like, oh, super gnarly. I don't know, dude. Anything else you want to like mention, bring up, like any upcoming projects that you have that are exciting that are worth plugging? I think this will come out.
Projects. We're gonna have a big Legs of Steel project coming up.
Hell yeah!
This year and next year probably. And other than that, hoping to film with TGR again maybe this season.
Yeah,
I'm stoked to do that
for sure.
And yeah, maybe do Ritsch's Roll again at some point. We have to do it again, and we are gonna do it some way or the other. It will happen again. So yeah, it's gonna be a busy winter. I hope it's gonna be a good winter, but I have a good feeling, and yeah, just waiting for the snow to arrive. I feel ready.
Yeah, dude, we're due a good winter. It's time.
That's right. Overdue.
As he looks outside to see that there's still no snow. Not that I can see the mountains in the dark, but
right now. But yeah, it was snowing a little bit yesterday night. That was nice to just see the snow falling again, and yeah.
Fingers crossed for sure.
Fingers crossed for sure. Yeah.
Well, bro, we'll leave it at that. Thank you for taking the time. Appreciate it, my dude.
Thanks for having me.
Goodbye to all the listeners who are out there, and boom.